Hey everyone, I've been so lucky this weekend because yesterday I got to go to an early screening of The Boss Baby in cinemas. What an exciting time it was! No, but for real, when I first saw this trailer, I think I'd been on a night out and I came home really drunk and watched the trailer and I thought it was a joke. Like I saw it in my subscriptions box and I was like, nah, this can't be real. So I brushed it off. And then I saw it was out on early previews this weekend and it was like, oh, this movie's actually happening then. I guess I'll go. So, yeah, I went to see it. And weird thing is, it wasn't completely terrible the way it looked. And it was like, what? I'm actually kind of enjoying aspects of this film, and I'll talk about all of that. But let's get into The Boss Baby. So, the plot, if you've not heard of this movie yet, this may come as a shock, but the plot is about this baby played by Alec Baldwin. So, babies are born and they either become businessmen for some strange reason or they go to families and grow up like a normal baby, like many of us, I'm sure, did. I don't think there's any businessman babies out there. If there are, let me know. But yeah, they all either go to be businessmen or grow up to be a normal baby in a family. And then there's this other family. There's this young boy. Can't remember for the life of me his name. He's like 7 years old, I believe. And the whole movie's narrated by Tobey Maguire. It's like, yeah, he did Spider-Man and see how far he's fallen from grace, you know? He's in The Boss Baby, whereas you've got Andrew Garfield, another Spider-Man who's been nominated for Oscars. I guess we know which Spider-Man's doing better. It can only go up for you, Tom Holland. But yeah, anyway, Tobey Maguire narrates this thing and he's talking about his life story. You know, he has this wild imagination as a kid, and every time you see him imagine things, it's like a different animation style. I really like the animation style, actually. This whole movie looks pretty beautiful in terms of animation. Um, but yeah, it follows this other kid, and he's like an only child, and his family always have attention for him, and he's loved like by this family. And then all of a sudden, this boss baby comes along in a taxi, and it's never explained. Like the mum's pregnant in this film, yet the baby just turns up in a taxi, and she's not pregnant anymore, and it's just like, oh, okay. And that's the thing. You could argue that it's all the kid's imagination, but at the same time, wouldn't it be animated differently when he comes out of that taxi? I don't know, I'm probably looking too far into this. Kids won't care, and this movie is ultimately for kids, so whatever. But yeah, the basic plot of it is that the boss baby is sent to this family to pretend to be a baby, I suppose, so he can infiltrate this company of puppies because puppies are becoming cuter than babies and people want puppies and not babies. But I'm sure that puppies aren't going to stop couples from banging. I mean, banging's been around for centuries and puppies bang too, so whatever. It doesn't matter. The villain, played by Steve Buscemi, has this plan to have this puppy that will take over families, and then that's it. That's the plot. And actually, it's kind of enjoyable and also really, really stupid. So there are different aspects to enjoy and maybe not enjoy about this film if that's what you want to do. But I will say that I went to the cinema and it was completely packed and a lot of kids were there and they were laughing their heads off. Even the adults were laughing pretty hard. So at least, you know, they did what they wanted to do. They entertained the kids in there and I laughed quite a lot actually, surprisingly. There was never any moments where I was laughing so hard that I was crying, but there are certain moments that are very funny in this film. Like there's this fat baby guy. I can't remember his name either, but he's really dumb and stupid, like the typical, you know, henchman character that's really big, and he was really funny. I laughed a lot at him. But like at certain points in the movie, I was sort of thinking to myself, I don't know what's going on anymore. You know, when it gets to that last act, the movie does sort of drag a bit, and it's like, wow, this is taking forever, you know? It's only like 90 minutes, but it feels sort of longer. So yeah, when they get to this last act, it's like all this stuff's happened. It's comedy. It has its heartfelt moments. There are actually some surprising scenes of heart in this film, you know. But like when it gets to the last act, things happen in the last act that really get really convoluted, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be really criticizing this kids film for being convoluted, but that's what's happening here. But I'll say that Alec Baldwin does do a really good job. He was so good in this movie. Like every time he was talking, he had some lines that had me cracking up. I think he was the perfect casting for this boss baby. You know, Cat in the Hat and now the boss baby. Oh, what a genius. This guy's going places in his life. So, yeah, if you want to see it for Alec Baldwin's performance, that's probably the sole reason you should go and see it if you're an adult. But if you've got kids, I think they'll definitely enjoy this film. I mean, there are way too many shots of baby's arse. There is one scene where they show like the crotch all pixelated, and it's like, oh, it's a baby. But yeah, like scenes like that did feel a little weird and out of place. But you know, there are a lot of shots of butts, and there's a lot of poo jokes. But what do you expect from a kids movie? Are you expecting Shakespeare? Are you expecting, Monty Python levels of humor? Probably not. But a lot of aspects about this film really do feel good, and like it's actually kind of an original story. I mean, the story itself is pretty simple, like the overall story, but the actual premise is kind of simple. I saw Storks, and a lot of people liked Storks, and I wasn't such a big fan of it, and that revolves around the process of babies being born and stuff too. And I feel like this movie did do that a bit better. I mean, it doesn't make sense having the baby be a boss, like with the adult's voice that drinks a serum that makes him stay young forever, but I just feel like the whole scenes of the babies being born and stuff, I feel like it was done to a better extent than Storks. I'm not saying I hated Storks, I'm not saying I hated the Boss Baby, I'm not saying either of them are great, I'm just saying they're probably equally as good as each other, but I just feel like this did that element better. And, it was pretty enjoyable. I mean, the opening is pretty good. So, have you seen The Boss Baby yet? What did you think of it? Did you think it was really stupid? Like, when you saw the trailer, what did you think of that? And then what did you think of the final film? Because I'm surprised that I enjoyed this movie despite it being so surreal and weird and crazy and making almost zero sense. Because by the end, I walked out and I was thinking, well, half of this didn't make sense, but half of it could have been this boy's imagination. So, was it supposed to make sense? So, yeah. People aren't going to go see this for the plot if they've got kids anyway, so who cares? The Boss Baby is a fine movie. It's actually very enjoyable if you're in the right frame of mind, but I'm not saying it's a good film either, because it's not. It's just an average animated film. So it's not a waste of time. So have you seen The Boss Baby? What did you think of it? Let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back soon.